So well, my friends, this commentary I will not let an answer, doesn't go, but I will say something very respectful to this. First of all, we are here at the lovely court, you know. It is wet, it is cold, it is fresh, the snow is in the mountains. So that was really the unnicest commentary from all what I got. And when I tell now something, forget about the person who wrote this, you know. That is completely uninteresting to me. We put this away because I always make something with respect. Also, when I get such a message, I also make it with respect, you know. I don't know the guy. It was the first time who wrote this to me, but that I cannot let unanswered, you know. So we go only by sentence, yeah. We take this all what he wrote, and if this is true or not, and what I can say about this. When I get such a message, you know, no one likes that. When you get negative things or when you get stupid things or whatever. But I ask always myself first, maybe is he right or not, you know. Sometimes there is a little bit truth in there, and so I ask always myself first if it's true or not what someone writes, because then I can change it and make it better. But now, first thing what he wrote is chi. I don't know what chi means, you know. Chi, to me it sounds like, you know, I'm not from the US, I don't know where this guy come, maybe US. I maybe know how old this guy is, but it's uninteresting. The person we put away, you know. I will not answer to the person, I will answer about the sentence, what I can say. So chi, to me that means, oh Jesus, my, you know, that, maybe I'm right or not, you can tell me, I don't know. I have never heard chi, you know. Maybe in my language I would say, oh my gosh, you know. That is the thing what I think what he wanted to tell me. It would go with the rest of the sentence, but maybe I'm wrong. But if it's so, complete unrespectful. The whole sentence is complete unrespectful, because he wrote the first time to my channel what I know. So there enters someone into a channel, and that is the first sentence what you get. And then we go to the sentence, gee, balls looks brand new. Yeah, not only this one ball, I have it by me now. Balls, you know, all balls. He means maybe balls looks brand new. Then with a smiley which laughs me out, completely unrespectful again. And then this guy cannot play, a basketball terrorist. So first sentence, chi, you know, oh my gosh, completely unrespectful as the whole sentence. Second thing what we go is balls looks brand new. We will come to this. And then the sentence, which I have no problem, you know. You can always write what you want. I have never deleted anything, never. I delayed nothing. You can tell me what you want. You can put on the thumbs up, I have no problem with that. Everyone can do what he wants, and when you have this opinion, but I think when you have a little bit respect and you write someone for the first time, then you react other. But there comes the other thing what maybe the persons don't know, because this is YouTube, you know. But I will say also something about that. And then this guy cannot play. Yeah, there I say correct. That is true in a way. I cannot play, but I have never said anything else. If you watch my videos, you will always hear I am not good. You know, I always tell this, I am not good. And why? Because I never have learned it. You know, I had never a trainer, I was never in a club, and basketball was always a thing what I loved, but what I always did beside other sports. I always tell this, basketball was maybe the sport number 8 from the level what I could do, and 7 other sports I could do much way better, you know. And that is the thing. But I mean, when someone writes me I'm not good, so that means I'm not allowed to talk something about balls. I know the understanding into it. He means, why are you making the videos, you know, with this and that? But I mean, then you can go to a club here. Yeah, then I can also say this guy is not good, because then I go to a college in the US and they are maybe better. And then you can also say this guy or this girl in the college is also not good, because then we go to the NBA or to the WNBA. You know what I mean? What level? You could say a lot of things, but yeah, I'm not good. But I told this a lot of times. when you don't have a trainer, yeah, how should you go up, you know? But there I give him correct, I cannot play good. But does that mean I'm not allowed to say something about balls? But we can also do this, you know? But then the last sentence, a basketball terrorist, and that is to me complete unrespectful. And there I will say a lot more, because a basketball terrorist, because the ball looks brand new, I cannot play, and so I'm a basketball terrorist. Now, listen to that. Not you, so the audience. Now, the thing is, we have to talk about YouTube. You get there all for free, you know? I am one of the last out there who don't take money, you know? And I have not opened this channel to make or to generate money. I'm not only talking now about basketball or street ball, I'm talking about all genres. Now we have to talk about this because also about basketball, but this is nothing what I say against others. This is only now an overall opinion. I am one of the last ones who does this for no money. Other ones get money, maybe for balls. When we are into basketball, they get money. Company sees, oh, he has a bigger audience now. We send them a ball. He should make a video. He can own the ball for himself, or maybe he gets some money, you know. And I will tell you, almost everyone here on YouTube makes it only for money, you know. I will say you 99% maybe only are doing it for the money, or they open a channel up to generate money, and maybe they achieve their goal or not. Goal is 1000 subscribers and 4000 hour watch time. Then you are in the program of YouTube, and that is important now. And then you can make ads in front of the video, between the videos, you know. That is one goal. When you have much more subscribers, sometimes 500, then you can make affiliate links. But affiliate links to me, for example, has nothing to do with advertisement. Important. Why? Because there you can say about all things what you want, yeah? And people can buy what they want, and you get a little bit. That changes nothing in the video. But the other thing is when you take sponsorships, and for the affiliate links you need around 500 subscribers, and there now they have another step on YouTube, because I know a lot about YouTube and I know a lot about filming. These are two complete different ways, you know. I never talk about this, but I have a lot of knowledge from there. You can believe me. And now they have another tool in where you can make money with other things. It goes too much into details, where you need less subscribers, you know, and less watch time. 3000 hour watch time and 500 subscribers. So, and the thing is, when then YouTubers are in there and they take sponsorships, for example a ball, they get the ball, they talk a little bit about the ball, and that was all. And then they have gotten money from it, and maybe they make for example an Amazon link, and then they get also for that also paid when people order this ball. And of course they will say, wow, the ball is good, yeah, it's really nice, and blah blah. Have you seen them playing it? I will say it overall now, because I never say something against others, because everyone can do what he wants or what she wants. But it's only to the thing that you understand what I mean now, you know. And it is an easy part. For example, I could also order a ball, maybe from Amazon or other thing. I order it, I get the ball, I put it out of the package, I make a video, yeah, in my room, and say something, yeah, good ball, nice, yeah, okay, you can order it, blah blah, and then I put it back into the package, I send it back, and I get my money back. And people order it now via my link, and then I get paid for it. That I can do, easy work. I had not to go here to a basketball court. I sit at home and have easy work and make money. And I make absolutely no money. I made over 300 videos for not 1 cent. In the other way, I put in a lot of money. You have to pay for the music rights. You know, I cannot put in music to make this. You will get a copyright claim and whatever. I also got problems with music, because sometimes the software doesn't check it. Then you have other things you have to write to the company to claim all those things, you know. And there are different companies. For example, Epidemic Sound, you have Artlist, you have Leaked. There you get the more famous music, but there you have to pay more. You can pay it monthly, you can pay it for 1 year, and you can pay it monthly, for example, on Leaked, and you have to pay for each track. I have videos in there where I have paid over 60 euro, you know, for one video. I have paid only 60, not only, I've paid 60 euro to make only for one video, you know, and I get nothing paid. And that is what you have to understand, you know what I mean? And others, when they get bigger, for example basketball, or we take other genres, it doesn't matter now. Then the sponsorship see, oh wow, this generates money. I've seen a skateboarder, for example, who doesn't know good about filming, and he also said this, that he is not into filming, very correct, and he got a camera, you know, because the companies have seen he has the audience, he has the young followers, they will buy this camera maybe, because they will also get influencers. And he made a video about the camera, but has no understanding about filming. And that is how it works. They send you products, and the people take the products and say something, because they get it for free, they get a little bit money, and that is how it works. And I am one of the last ones out there who doesn't work in that way. I make it for real, for my own passion, and I tell the truth what I think about balls. You know what I mean now? And when we have 10 people who talk about balls, we will get 10 different opinions, in my sense. Of course, when you are a very, very experienced player, you may think a little bit other about balls than I do. And maybe someone who is better than me will also think a little bit other about balls. You know, especially when you are an indoor player. I don't play indoor, I'm a street baller. That is why it's called a street ball channel. You know, street ball #1. I never played indoor. 5 days in my life, in 1995, when I was 10 years old, I played indoors. The only time in my life, you know. So I all say about outside. And that is also a big part. And then the other thing is the sponsorships, what they get. Sometimes they get a, how it's called, where you have to signature something. They have a deal, so it's called. They get a deal, maybe for a company, I will not say the names now, but you know, the nutrition, energy drinks and energy powder and all that stuff. There are a lot of different names out there, especially in Germany. And then they have a deal, then they have to wear the cap, then they have to wear the clothes, and then they say, now 10% you get a rabatt, I don't know, in English, then you get a little bit less from the price, 10% with my name and blah blah. They are only doing it for the money, you have to understand it. If YouTube would tell it is not allowed to generate money again, what do you think what those people would do? They would immediately close their channel. They say, for what shall I do it? First of all, they are not interested in filming, and they are not interested in you in the audience. They only need you for the money. You know, I talk now in general, that you understand in a really direct way. You know what I mean? So when they tell, I have told this in the last video, you know, oh, write it down in the commentary. Every video gets the same. Maybe, and that is the thing, when you are not into YouTube, you will not know this, you know. Now I explain you that people who are not into YouTube understand this. And there it comes, because I said first that maybe this guy don't know about YouTube. But this is how it works. And I'm one of the last one who doesn't work in that way, you know. And yeah, we have to make a little break because the echo, you know. Wait, so now we go on, that the echo gets not overheated. And the thing is, people don't know this, you know. That is why I have to explain it. And then when I say I make it for free, and others could generate so much money, but then they have to sell their souls, you know. They have to sell their souls, and they have to talk something which maybe they don't think private. They show you products maybe where they say private, I would not buy it, but doesn't matter. I get my money, the company pays me, now I make the smile in the video. Yeah, drink, buy this drink and blah blah, you know. They have to wear the clothes all the time. I can wear what I want, you know, and I tell the honest opinion. And I don't make the same videos, because normally, you know, I tell you that you can be good in filming and you can be good in YouTube. These are complete different ways. perhaps people think when you have to be good in filming. Now the dogs come. I have to go. Now the pit bulls come again. Shit, wait. So here we go again. The pit bulls are away. You know, I'm not afraid of dogs, but I know the people here, and when I see the people have it not under control, better go, because I was also attacked one time, so better be careful. So the thing is, filming and YouTube. When you think you have to be a good filmer to be successful on YouTube, that is completely untrue. You know, I know channels which are professionals in filming. They are really experts, but on YouTube they are nothing. And on the other way, I know channels where you see immediately they have absolutely nothing to do with filming. You know, they can nothing with filming, but they are very successful on YouTube. These are two ways how it works. If you think you have to film it correct and make the best video, no, that means nothing. You know, on YouTube is much more important the content, what you bring, what does the audience like. You know, you see, for example, I know filming, I have a deep understanding into it. I told this. For example, when you see YouTubers who get more famous, where you realize very quick that they have nothing to do with filming. You see, now they have a little bit money, and what are they doing? They think, I buy now an expensive camera and now I can film better. You know, that is a simple thing. Expensive is always a thing. Do you buy a red camera or on and on? Or what I say now, expensive camera for normal people, maybe a Sony a7 IV, very popular camera in the game, around, I don't know, 3,000 euro without the lenses, 3,000 euro around when it was new. So in that price range we talk now. Then they buy this camera, and what are they doing? They are holding it with one hand and walking and filming and again and vlogging themselves. I mean, better use a GoPro, because then you would have a better stabilization than with those cameras. You know, the bigger the camera, a full sensor camera with the stabilization in the hand will not be like, for example, an MFD camera. You have the better stabilization, for example. You know what I mean? A G9 II from Panasonic maybe better than a full sensor camera, because a smaller sensor is easier to stabilize. You know what I mean? An optical stabilization, not the digital. These are all things. So when someone is not watching into the lens, on a GoPro you will not see that far. I can tell you, I don't say names because then people understand it in the wrong way, but I have a big YouTuber what I like very well, who makes adventures around the world, but you see he uses the GoPro and always watches into that small screen, and when the screen is such a little bit away from the lens, and when you hold it far away you will not see it. Only when you are a filmer you see that he's not watching into the lens. And when someone is not watching into the lens, you know, they have not experienced into filming, you know. And when you have a big camera where you can open up the screen, then it's much far away, and people always, I tell you now I watch into the lens, and now this is how I would talk when I watch to the screen. Oh, I'm looking very good, I'm looking very nice, yeah, I see myself, I'm vlogging. I never watch to the camera in an extreme way now, because we have a wide angle, then it's much more extreme. You know what I mean? But in other way, when you are talking with someone, and you talk 10 minutes and this guy or this girl doesn't watch into your face, always beside of you, you may also think, hey, do you listen to me? What is wrong with you? You know, and that is with filming, watch to the audience. I have no problem when people don't do it, but there you see they are not into filming. Yeah, for a small example. Or the easiest way to reduce wind damage, I'm now on because it's damaged, is to take a form on it. Very cheap thing. I don't have the money for that. Yeah, other thing. A form is the easiest way, but people don't do it. I don't understand it. Then they have the camera out by wind, and you know, 10 euro. Yeah, for example, a form on it makes it much more better. You know, I don't talk about external microphones, lavalier microphones and all that stuff. For example, watch this. Watch here. You see that maybe? Wait. You see that? I'm completely cut out. Why? because my shaver is damaged. You know, it has a hole now and I don't have the money to change the shaver now. And so I have to do it and always bleeding now and have the cuts in there. I don't have the money for that. But still I'm doing it without making money. I could make complete other videos, for example. Now we come back to YouTube. When you want to have success here, we take our ball. Now it is wet, you know. We have the legacy also by rain, but we will come to this. If you want to have success on YouTube, you can make complete other videos. Then, have you ever wondered why they make the videos around 8 to 12 minutes? That has a reason why. Because you need the watch time. That is much more important than the viewers. You can have 100,000 viewers, but when those 100,000 viewers only watch 20 seconds of your video, that is not good. Then better have 10,000 viewers and they watch the whole length of the video. It always goes about how often is a video put out to the whole wide world, you know. It's like when I have flyers at home, you know, I could have 100,000 flyers at home for courses, for example, but when I have no people who put it out into the post offices, then this 100,000 flyers will bring you nothing. You need the people who bring it out to the people. And the same is with YouTube, with the algorithm. If you want to have success, then you need to know how the algorithm works, that the algorithm puts out your video to a lot of viewers, you know, to a lot of people. That you get a lot of impressions, it is called on YouTube, you know. When you have 10,000, 100,000 impressions, then 100,000 people have seen your small video somewhere and then they can click on. You know what I mean? And that is the important thing. And when you don't work for the algorithm, then you can have the best video and YouTube only shows it for 200 people. You know what I mean now? Then you never have a chance. And so you have to make other videos when you want to have success on YouTube. And that is why they make 8 minutes to 12 minutes, because the shorter videos, the chance that people watch it more longer in percentage is, the chance is greater. You know what I mean? As when you would have, like me, 20-30 minutes videos. Then people cut down in 5 minutes your video, in 2 minutes, whatever. And then you have never the chance to grow big, you know. I made 300 videos out there. Normally you say you need around 100 to 200 videos to get the 1000 subscribers, the magical thing. Then you can generate money, because then the advertisement between the videos and in front of a video, you know, the YouTuber makes this. That also many people don't know. I am too small, I don't want to do this, but that is important now. The people decide when they want the advertisement in. Have you ever wondered when you watch a video and it gets exciting, the most exciting part, bam, now there comes the advertisement. That makes the YouTuber, when they are big enough, over 1,000 subscribers, they decide where the advertisement comes in. You know what I mean? And how often, how much, how long, and all those steps. But this has changed around November last year. We got longer advertisements. But there is where they get the money. They have nothing to do with the companies from advertisement that makes YouTube, you know. But YouTube pays out for you that you have the advertisement in. You know, that is a really big deal. And there perhaps many think, guys got paid or whatever, or YouTube makes the advertisement a shit. No, these are the YouTubers. That is also important to know. And when you think now, yeah, you have YouTube Premium, we don't have to need to watch YouTube. Yeah, when you have YouTube Premium, the YouTuber gets even more money, because they pay out from the whole part what people pay for Premium, they pay out the YouTubers, you know. And of course they are interested. We need as much advertisement in as possible, the longest one in front of the video, because then I get more paid. If the advertisement is longer, the YouTuber gets more paid, and they are thinking, yeah, more advertisement in, longer advertisement in, sponsorships, affiliate links, all what I have to put in, that people watch the video. And they don't think, what can I do, what is now a great content, what would be nice. No, how can I generate the most money? For example, basketball. What ball is now in? Yeah, of course, now I have to put this ball, because that makes as much money for me. You know, you understand that now. And I'm the complete other side. I work how it was back in the days. I tell again, everyone can work as he wants, and I have nothing against. I never say anything. But this is now from that sentence what this person wrote to me important to know. And I'm staying here, I make the videos, I do this all in my free time, you know, because first of all I am interested into the balls. Do you think others are interested into the balls so much that they will always go out and play? Have you ever wondered why they don't play the balls that much? You know, because they don't want, because they see you can make much more easy work of it. I don't have to play half an hour this ball. I can talk it at home or whatever. You know, that is the truth about it. They always search an easy step, but in all genres, you know, when it goes to money, that is the thing, is only a money thing right now anymore. And I work against that, you know. I'm here in my free time, almost every day I'm filming, you know, and all for free. I come out after work, between work, before work, to make a nice video. And here it comes the other part. When you make the same sport as I do, the audience, you know, the same feeling, then you don't choke someone. Why? We make the same sport, we want to help each other to generate something. And my intention was to make a channel. We started with mini golf. I wanted to make the mini golf, and then because I also played basketball, I tested all the balls without the camera, you know, and then I started to film in my language because I was interested into filming also and make nice videos to remember back. And then I once thought, yeah, why not? When I have so many balls, now I can make videos and all other people can watch it. And we have a nice channel where people can see weekly street ball, and maybe we have a lot of young audience here. Yeah, YouTube, there watches a lot of young people. And when I can influence young people, you know, who are teenagers or younger, and they say, wow, I can see every week basketball, wow, that is cool, that motivates me, I want also to play, can I have a basketball? You know, you can do nothing better. That is the thing. And then you get such a stupid, respectless commentary, you know, that I'm not good. Yeah, that I can accept because this is the truth, but I have never said anything other. But you can think in another way. Maybe people are out there who have the same struggles than I have. When I dribble, when I learn it, they have the same progress, you know, because when you watch someone who is a professional, everything is great, then you are so far away when you start. And when you see my playing, then you think, yeah, this is possible. Maybe I can also this. He has the same problems. The ball was falling away when he dribbled. He does not have the best shot. It's not always in, you know. And that can motivate you. Or maybe they are getting better than me. And then they say, wow, I started, now I'm better than the YouTuber. You know, that can motivate. In that sense, you can also think about it. You know, these are all things. And now to the basketball theorist, you know, that I cannot let stand there, because that is really, really respectless. I am a basketball theorist, you know. I don't know if you have watched the videos, you know, but tell me one. I have not seen one who plays balls more often on different courts than I do. I play every single session on the other court and with other balls, every single time. Now show me someone who is doing that. I don't know one. I know a lot of people now around the world, and listen what they tell me, what is going on. I don't know one. And that is not, that is good or not. No, that is complete neutral. It is a thing, does this do someone or not? I don't know one. You can tell me. I don't know one. You know, and for other example, when you see YouTubers, for example, going out when it's snowing, they make 1 or 2 shots and that is all. Why? For the clickbait. Wow, that looks great out in the cold. But they don't play there. Believe me that. Many don't play there. I see that because I'm doing it. You know? Then basketball theorist. I tell you that. In 1 year we play on over 30 courts. On over 30 courts, you know, with all other balls. We have now on the videos around 60 balls, you know, 60 balls. We play them again. And I make this all in my free time, that people will like it. You know how much work this is? Alone the cutting. You know, I cut sometimes 4 or 5 hours a day, you know, until 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the night for nothing. You know, I could change the video, make really easy work, sit at home talk a little bit about a ball. You know, 8 minutes, the magical 8 minutes is also a thing. Because when you make it under 8 minutes, you cannot put in advertisement between the video. And that is why they make the video always about the 8 minutes, most of the time, that they can put in a lot of advertisement, you know. That is all a thing. And I go out there every single day, if I'm tired, if I'm hurt or not. Another thing is, I have always told you this, my throw is not good. I don't make it correct. Why? Because my shoulder was hurting. Now I'm fine, but I was always there with a hurting shoulder. Every single shot hurted me, you know, because I have damaged in there. But I still made the videos that people can watch it. And all for nothing, you know, for nothing. Even when I don't have money, I'm still doing it in that way because I can say the truth. I don't have a sponsor what tell me, yeah, I have to make the smile. Wow, this company is so good. Yeah, you have to order it, you know. And now let's write it in the commentaries, your question. I'm so interested. Have you ever wondered why no one almost is writing you back? Because they are not interested in do it, you know. Try it, check it out, write in bigger YouTubers, they will not answer to you. Of course, when they have 1 million subscribers, of course they will not answer and cannot answer. They have a management what makes this, and then you cannot stay there 10 hours a day, that is for sure. But you will experience that people will not give you a correct answer, or only the standard thing, if, you know, maybe most of the time not. They only need much commentaries for the algorithm, that it puts out to more people the video. That's the only part. I swear to you, if YouTube would change that, and when YouTube would say the commentaries are meaningless now, people can write, but they are meaningless for the algorithm and for all that stuff, what do you think would happen? I guarantee no one in the video would ask, oh, I'm interested, now I have a question. Every video is the same. Listen to me what I'm telling you now. Watch exactly on the videos and you will see that. In every video will come a thing, now I have a question, now I'm interested, write down in the commentaries what you think. All videos, in 99% you hear that question. It's only for the algorithm. They are not interested in do that. You know what I mean? And if YouTube would decide that has nothing to do with the algorithm anymore, no one would ask you the question. That is the truth, you know. And to a basketball terrorist, I'm playing on over 30 courts. What can I do more? I always take other ball. I could make it fine to me. I play my lovely ball all the time. Yeah, take other ball. Say 1 minute something about the ball. I don't know about the ball. Only talk 1 minute. Would be easy work. And maybe we would have 1,000, 2,000 subscribers now. But I am interested in my own if the ball is good or not. And that I'm not good. Yeah, sure. We had one who wrote a nice commentary, and this guy has trained NBA players, and this guy can write something nice here, yeah, but the other cannot write it nice here. And the guy who trained the NBA players, of course he will see that I cannot play. I mean, I come from sport, you know, I've told this, I have experienced much more. Listen to my last video, then you will see what I have experienced in sport. I've seen the world-class level. I've worked with the world-class level athletes, and so I know immediately if someone is good or not. And when someone is playing basketball, he sees in 1 second that I have not learned it, you know. That is the truth. I know here champions, you know. What do you mean? When I play against those guys, they put me away like nothing. But in the other way also, because I see here the table tennis, you know, I drive to the whole city every day almost, and there are not club players in table tennis. For example, there are always people who playing in the whole city. We have everywhere table tennis courts, and they are really good players, but these are players who play only for them own. They never experienced a club, but they are really good. And when you watch them and you have never experienced table tennis, wow, this guy looks like a professional. They play since 10 years, every day they are training, you know what I mean? And when I enter in and see them, yeah, great. But I tell you that I have experienced table tennis and I worked really hard. I was a champion of the city here when I was younger. And when you put me against the best player who is out there in the city, who is playing on those free courts, what do you think what will happen? This guy will have no chance against me. because I have worked out with the best. And that is the thing, and the same with basketball. If someone plays basketball, he will immediately see that I have nothing, that I am not a real player, because I have not learned it. You know, I never was in a club. You know, you could send me money, then I can take a trainer. You know what I mean? Then I put in here a personal trainer, and then I can train every day. What would you think, how fast I would grow up? You know, that is the other part. For example, you have to see that if someone is working out, other story, you could be here every day 5 hours, but if you don't have the steps how to get better, what will you do? You can be here 5 hours every day, the whole year. And I tell you that if there is other guy or other woman, girl, who plays only 1 hour a week but has the best trainer, now tell me who will get better? The guy who plays 5 hours every day, he only knows dribbling, he don't know how to make tricks, he don't has videos, he don't has tutorials, nothing. You know, nowadays you have it on YouTube and all that stuff. But back then, for me, example, I didn't have it. But now tell me that, who will get better? The guy who only makes the same thing, dribbling and shooting, or girl, doesn't matter, and plays 5 hours every day, or the boy, girl who plays 1 hour a week with the best trainer. I guarantee the 1 hour per week will be much better than the other one. And I have experienced that all time, you know, with other sports. For example, skateboarding. I needed 1 year to make a kickflip, you know, 1 year. Nowadays this is unthinkable. But in my village where I lived, no one could do a kickflip. And there was no YouTube, there was no Facebook, you had no internet, you had no smartphone, that didn't exist. You had nothing to learn it. Where should you watch it? You had a video, but that was all. But there was no one telling you have to put the feet on this, that. You had to try out for your own. And you know how much time this takes? I needed 1 year to make one kickflip. And then I made the experience, and that I will always remember. I was going to the city and there were little kids then, in the same age as I was starting with skateboarding. And I've seen they could do a little bit of an ollie, but they could not do an ollie up to the one stair, you know, where you walk the street and the walking way is a little bit higher. They could not jump on there a little bit, you know, so a fake ollie. And then I say to them, do you want to learn the kickflip? I think you can do it. And now listen, I could learn them the kickflip in 1 day. On the same day they could do a kickflip, you know, not by driving, but by standing, they could make a kickflip. Because I have taught them, because I had the experience how to do that in 1 single day. You know, and that is the thing. What do you think when there is someone who teaches me how fast you will grow? And that is the thing. Do you have someone here? Do you have the money? Most people don't have it. Most people live outside somewhere. They are happy when they see something, and that motivates much more when you don't see the best player here. That is also a thing, you know. And there's a lot of things. And terrorists in basketball, I mean, I play by snow, I play by rain. We have played by minus 12 degrees. I don't know in Fahrenheit how much this is now. Minus 12 degrees. We played by almost 40 degrees. We play on all different courts, you know, over 30 courts, always the other court, you know. And you know how much it takes time to film that stuff. That is the other thing. I will tell now that the filming, you know, I could make much more if I would have money. You know, when I would have other cameras. Now I only have the GoPros anymore. I have no other camera anymore. But there comes to the point. To make a great video needs time. You need the knowledge about filming. You need money. Money means the equipment, you know. But the best equipment does bring you nothing when you don't have the knowledge about filming, you know. And you need persons who know filming. Because when you have the best equipment and all that stuff, but you have no one who knows filming, that brings you nothing. I have experienced that. I had so many people who filmed, not in basketball, a long time before. And there I have seen some people have talent, some have not. That is the other thing. For example, when you go skateboarding, skateboarders are good filmers. Why? Because they know how a trick looks great. You know, skateboarders always filmed long time ago where most of all other guys didn't film. Who bought a real camera back then? A big one, you know, a camcorder. Most people don't know the name camcorder anymore. And there is the thing, you have for example, a photograph, a professional or a film professional, but has nothing to do with skateboarding. Or do you take someone who is not that professional but he skates for his own? I would always go with the skateboarder. You know why? Because this guy knows in which angle the trick looks great. For example, when there are stairs, I go from here, from underground upwards, because then the stairs looks much bigger, much wider and all that stuff. You know, so you need people who understand filming. You know, most people film with smartphone, one hand shaking, you know. There is a little bit of knowledge about how to film that you think for your own, you know, and the more expensive the equipment gets, you have to watch much more, because when you put on automatic, then I don't need a big camera, you know. You want a blurry background, you need a bigger sensor, you know, but also not only that, you know, it is easier. Yeah, it's too much detail now. You don't need a bigger sensor. It's one part what makes it easier. For example, when you want to have this, then with a GoPro, we don't have the blurry background. But that is something, for example, what I want extra in there, because I film always alone. Why? Because I don't want to get problems with my videos. When I have people in there, that is, for example, a respect. If someone is now playing here, I will not film. Why? I will get no problems when I put it in. You know, he can make a claim when he sees the video, or she or he, but I will get no problem, you know. But this is unrespectful. I don't want that someone who doesn't want to be in a video that he is in, so I don't film. You know how often I went to a court and I said, there's now someone in, a child, whatever. Then you have to drive home. 1 hour drive there, 1 hour drive home for nothing. Next day you try again. All for nothing. You know what I mean? These are all things what people don't see. And with filming, the better when the equipment gets better, you don't want to make it automatic. And to the point with the blurry background, when I'm always alone in the camera, it is better to have all sharp behind, because then people can watch, it looks that in the city and this and that. And when it all is blurry, it gets boring. You know what I mean? That is also one thing. And for example, when you have a expensive camera, you can make so many mistakes. Also, this happened to me. I had bigger cameras, but then sometimes you forget something, you know, the shutter speed, whatever, you know. There are a lot of rules into filming. Most YouTubers don't know this. They are not interested into filming, you know. But it's also a hobby from me. For example, a 180-degree shutter rule, you know. You film 25 FPS and the shutter speed is 50, for example, to make the motion blur. It's not the John Cena wish, because when you watch your finger, for example, and you make a fast wish there, watch to your fingers, then you will see they are not sharp. This is the natural blurriness, you know, and you want the same to get on a camera, and that is why you can use the 180-degree shutter rule. For example, when someone films with the 25 FPS, you take 150 shutter speed. If you film 30 FPS or 29 something, you know what I mean, 29.97, then you need the shutter speed 160 to get those motion blur. Otherwise it is too much motion blur, or you look robotic, and that is with those cameras a little bit of problem. You could put on an ND filter. It happened to me here with an MFD camera. I had a Panasonic GH5 camera, MFD sensor, and I was filming here and I had the ND filter on. And that means you can put, when there is sun and such things, that you make the correct shutter speed. But what I didn't recognize there, I know it, but I have to make basketball. And what happened was I was not sharp in. I had the same ball here. You watch when I was putting in there, because when you have the ND filter on, sometimes the autofocus doesn't work well. Then you have a problem and you don't think about it and you say, oh my gosh, if I would have a GoPro, I don't have this problem, for example. Yeah, because I want to make a good basketball content and not always to watch for the camera. Other thing is this camera, I have the lens mode on, but the 1.0, I can put my camera in that direction. I will make it now, you will not see it. Now I have it put in this thing. I will always be straight. You don't have this with a bigger camera. And sometimes you forget to watch. You have here the water thing on that you see if it is straight or not, and sometimes not, and then you have a problem. With the GoPro I don't have it. I only want to tell you that thing, you know. That means you need the most expensive equipment, but when you have it you can put out a lot more things, but there you have to make all those steps. And that is good when you have someone who knows filming, because then I can get behind the camera and also play. That does not work, you know what I mean? And so these are all steps what you have to think. You make the best out of it. And the most important thing is time. You know, when I come here, it is not my own court. Maybe there come other people and then you have to go home. And sometimes, to me, the better solution is to take the GoPro. I normally have a tripod, you know, that I make it from a higher position, but sometimes I only take this with a little bit tripod, a very small one, and I put it on into the ground, only on that height, and that no one sees, you know, and then you got no problem. What do you think when you have a big setup alone, people entering in, two things what can happen? I don't want to be on the picture, you are not allowed to film here, why are you doing this, blah blah blah. Or they are interested, wow, why you are filming, can you show me this, that and that, and I cannot film, you know. These are all things from the other thing. But to the basketball theorist now, I play on over 30 courts, on all weather conditions, in winter, in summer, by rain, by snow, I told you all this, on all different services. Now show me one who do this. I play on rubber courts, on smooth one and on rough ones. We play on asphalt, on smooth one and on rough asphalts. I play on concrete, I play on gravel ground, I play on carpet, and I play on, how it's called, the cluster stones, I think, you know. We have 8 different services where we play the balls and where I test it. And then I have to listen to someone who tells me I'm a basketball theorist, you know. I don't know, what more can you do? You cannot do more than this. You know, and always play again, and you see my videos are long. I'm playing the balls always an hour or so, or more on the video, to see how long the videos are. Then I'm a basketball theorist, and that I can really, that is not true. That is not true. That I'm not good is true, but that I'm a terrorist, that is absolutely untrue, completely respectless. And the other thing is I'm still there. I had an hernia, you know, I don't know, a stomach hernia. I had an operation here. I had, how it's called, I don't know the name, another thing, on and on and on. You know, I have tinnitus since 12 years, left and right, to ear damage from too loud noise. And on and on and on. You know, I have autoimmune illness, but I still go out there and do it. You know, and all for free. And then people make such a respectless commentary when they see the content for nothing, you know. They see there is someone out who loves the game, who tries to make something, and that is the thing. Maybe this guy don't know it. He may think, wow, this guy makes money and don't know how to play. Yeah, then I would also say this is maybe not good, but I get nothing for it. I make it only that people get happy, and I'm interested for my own into my balls, and I say my own experience. And the other thing is, my videos are long, so that you can see how the ball jumps. You can always watch how big is the rebound, how is the ball jumping, and on and on. You see a lot of stuff, so, you know. Yeah, and now I cannot play because of that commentary. I wanted to make a video, but now I have to go home to work. Yeah, so I cannot play now. So now we can go on, because I had to go to work now, but this guy which I had to work has now said no, he cannot, so I have free time now. Now we can go on and I can play a little bit, because I was saying until then, as always, I wanted to go home, and then I have seen I have free now. So we can go on a little bit. You see, there are a lot of circumstances, how YouTube works, how to film Filming does mean nothing on YouTube most of the time. More important, you have to know how YouTube works and to make the content what people will know. My example, when I make shorter videos, would be easier work, I would have more success. But I want to make detailed videos to get all fit. You know, sometimes I make shorter videos, sometimes longer videos, because you know everyone is other, and some people say, yeah, why so short videos? I want the long videos, and the others say I want the short video. You know, that is always the thing. But the other thing with filming, you know, I could talk so much about filming, what I have experienced there. You know, I see a lot of things when you are into filming. I make not the great videos now, you know. I never say this. No, of course not. But I tell you, to make the best video, that takes time. But I could do it, you know. When you give me the equipment here, when you give me the big tripods, more cameras, people who can work with cameras, what do you think what I could do with lights, with all stuff, with microphones and this and that? What do you think what we could make here with people who really can play? That is the other thing. When you are really, really good, when someone can make a dunk, a 360 dunk, whatever, what do you think what I could make now? But the thing is always, you need the time again, you need the people, and most important, this is not a private court. People can always enter in. And when you have a big equipment, you can be sure that people will enter in. And then you have no video. So sometimes you have to make the best compromise about it. And to me, it is more important to have more basketball on it as to make the biggest video. I have done it a few times, but there are all the things coming. So I see on YouTube immediately if someone is into filming or not. The easiest steps are if someone watching to the lens or beside. When someone watches beside, you can be for 100% sure he has not much to do with filming. It's nothing bad or not, you know, but you see it, you know what I mean. And most people are not interested in it. That is the other thing. They don't want to get better or this and that. But yeah, everyone can do what he wants. But most people, I tell again, they make it only for the money. They want easy work. And when they say, yeah, for what shall I do more? Why shall I do this, not basketball in all genres? You know, why should I do much more when I get easy money? That is the thing. And I work in the other way. Yeah. And the other thing in filming, where you see it immediately, and also that happened to me, but by mistake. Sometimes mistakes happen when the light is flickering, not the natural light, the sun in evening, when you are at home or when you are in a tunnel or in a building or in a bar and the light is flickering. You may have seen this a lot of times by adventure YouTubers, by YouTubers who have 1 million subscribers. I could name you the names now. I like them a lot, you know, so I will not say the names, but you will have experienced that. And that is a complete easy step how to avoid this. You know, that has something to do with the shutter speed, but you can put it, you know, you have a function, for example, on action cams. They work a little bit different in an Insta or in a GoPro, but they change, for example, the frequency. When you live here, we have a other frequency than in the US, for example. You know, we have here a 50 frequency electricity, and so you have to put in 25 FPS, you know, pictures per second. 25 fits in 50, and so you almost never have this flickering. But when you film with 30 FPS, that fits not in the 50, and that is why it's flickering. A light is making 50 times the thing, but you don't see it. Also with video, this is not one smooth thing. No, there are 25 pictures in 1 second, and our eyes, our brain sees it as a film. You know, around 12 pictures around, you see it. Under 12 you will see these are pictures, you know, and that is a thing. And that you can, the pitbulls come again, the pitbulls come again. Shit, I have to stay here now, I'm strong. Doesn't matter. Then you have to love something when they get to me, because here I have nothing to do. But yeah, we will see what will happen, because it's an older woman who has both of them. Oh, no, I go. He's attacking the other dog now. He's attacking. So now we are here again, But the thing is, the pit bull really jumped to the other dog and was really up there, and she couldn't hold it. I know the people, you know. Always better to avoid problems than you stay here and you get problems. Always the better part, you know. So, and with the flickering, you know, there you make the electricity in English, so it's called, and you make the 25 FPS. Then here you will get no problems almost on all times. But for example, I film in 30 FPS. Why? Because 30 FPS fits better into smartphones. You know, you have a 120 Hz display, whatever. It fits better in. You know, this is a more detailed thing. Television can do both, you know, 50, 60 Hz. But the thing is, you will see that when you make I don't know how it's called in English, you know, when you make the camera this, I really don't know the word in English, only in German. And when you have the wrong FPS, then you will see that the picture is a little bit moving. But it's a detail, many people will not see it, but when you're into filming, you see that immediately. You know, I can tell immediately most of the times on which frame rate someone has filmed it, you know, or put it in. There's also a part, you know, but there are so many things, and it's a very an easy step to avoid those flickering in the videos. But it always also happened to me. Why? Because now, you know, I film in 30 FPS, because most of the people, 90%, watch it on their smartphone, you know. I can see that, I know that, and that is why I'm doing it. But I go against the shutter rule, you know, the 180-degree shutter rule, because then I had to make it with a 160 thing, but I make it with a 150, you know, because of the motion blur. But with a GoPro you can also forget it, because I have no ND filter on and on and on. But that is a thing. But you can make it very easy with one step. There you have a function for anti-flickering, you know, and there it changes on the GoPro Insta a little bit other. Then you have it correct, but people don't do it, and you see it flickering back then. There you see immediately they don't have to do nothing to do with filming. They are not experienced into that, and no problem. But many people, when you film every day, I think you should a little bit go into filming to make it better, you know. But they are not interested in, because they have their views, they have their money, and they say, yeah, have a nice time, for what shall I change something, you know. Another example is I had a bigger camera, and there I had SynchroScan, that was called, and there it was really great. I could not only choose between 150, 160, 170 and on and on and on by the shutter speed. I could make it between 151, so 52, 53, 54, and there it really fit in. I had lights at home, and there you get sometimes problems when you don't have the classical light. And there I could really fit in with 153. I remember I had it perfect, you know, there was no flickering in. These are all small steps into the filming game, you know, what lens you use and all this. But it's expensive, you know, it's really expensive to make all this happen. And so, yeah, but filming with the microphone, this is also a thing. People buy a Rode microphone. They also call it Rode. I don't know why they call it Rode. It's an Australian company, Rode, you know. I call it Rode. I'm not experienced in English, but to me that seems Rode, you know. And they buy the most expensive Rode, or a very expensive one, and then they put it on their big camera, what I told you, maybe an Sony S4. And then what are they doing? They think now, wow, and now I have the microphone for 500 euro, and now I have the best sound. Easy done, over. But what will happen? They have the camera set up, then on a tripod, and they put it away 3 meters before of them. And then 3 meters away with a how it's called in English, with a neon microphone, with an angle microphone, I think it's called in English. And that is not good, because you should get very near to a microphone. You know, there is a reason why they have in studios an angle in there where the microphone comes from above, very close to the mouth, but you don't see it in the picture, you know. That has a reason. And it's always a better option when you have such far away your camera, then it is better to have a not that expensive microphone and you invest your money into the room and to avoid the sound problems, you know, into a form and that stuff. That would be much better than to have the best microphone and a bad setup here, you know. Or you take a lavalier microphone is always the better option then. But for example, in basketball, I also had this, a lavalier microphone. But when you bend over and this and that makes, you know, and that are all things. And you have to put it in the correct, the audio level, you know. That also many people don't know, they don't watch it. They put on their microphone and it's over. I have the money, I have now bought the a very expensive one and now it's done. What shall I do? I have the expensive one. Finish. No, you have to level it in, you have to control it. You know, when there are people in studios, they make a setup, people have to talk, you have to find out how loud someone talks. There are people who really shout loud when they talk, or people who talk very quiet, you know, and then you level it in most of the time around -6, -12, you know. There are a lot of things what there is going on when you make it. But you know, you see now, when I am alone, how shall I do all those steps? Then you need someone behind the camera. What do I want to do? Do I want to play basketball or do I want to stay behind the camera? So you have to mix it up. But when you give me people, what do you think what I could do? You know, I have a video slider at home. That is a really great tool, really smooth one, you know, with electricity and all that stuff. But to bring all this here, you know, this is also dangerous, you know. I had one time in the night session, you know, that was on the Nonsense Court. I had there a setup at night on weekend alone, and this is a area where you don't want to enter. I can tell you, the last 3 weeks there were 3 things. One, I don't want to say that on camera, but there were really bad things happen. I have seen it with my own eyes. I can tell you, there was one was calling the police and said he will put on a bomb, he will bomb a house, really crazy. Police came, all stuff, but they didn't found a real bomb. And the other things were, one guy was beside of me and that guy was really aggressive, and I see that immediately. I went away because to avoid problems, you know, I was a lot into cities, I know those steps, you know, I was in all districts, in dangerous areas and so on. And there I have seen such a guy, I don't know what the problem was, but I have seen immediately one little thing is enough that this will crash into everyone. Doesn't matter who was there, this guy was crazy. And so I was really in a good way to go away and watch what he's doing behind me. And so then so the echo was over. Yeah, and then I have seen beside the street there was a tunnel with train above, and beside the tunnel there was police, a man and a woman who rode down the cars. But it was evening and that was in my area where this court is, and there it is quiet, there are no people around. And then I went the stairs upwards because there was an automat to take a drink, and I have seen above, and I've seen the guys running into the police. And then I knew, now I watch what will happen. And you know what happened? They have seen that he is aggressive, and then, but it was brutal. He fought the police, you know. He crashed the woman, the policewoman and the policeman, both of them. He hit into the face, into the stomach, everywhere, and they had no chance with 2 people. They were not experienced into fighting, and this guy was really fast and aggressive. And then they got him somehow and pressed him into the wall, you know, that he cannot move more. But even there he punched his way out, both of them, and was running away. And then the second police came. They were driving, I don't know, with 100 km/h against the red, you know what I mean, really crazy. And then the policeman came out with a how it's called in English, a military gun, you know what I mean, the big ones. I thought, oh my gosh. But then I thought, what is this guy doing? He has this big gun in there, but not in the hand. It was wobbling a little bit, and he was running into the fight with that gun. I mean, that is crazy. When I have this, you have to be away and not to run into a fight, because when the guy grabs this or whatever. And then also with 4 people they had problems. And then came the next 2 polices, and then with 6 people later on, with 8 they had it on the ground, put the hand gloves, the hand things on, and then they put him up and smashed him into the car. But the guy was really aggressive, you know. And then exactly where the court is, on the bridge before, there was also at night police coming, and they closed the whole bridge. Even houses before, you were not allowed to enter. I don't know what happened there, but there are a lot of drug addicts and dealer and fights and on. They also shot last year one with an electro teaser with a pistol, because they robbed a garage beside there, and then they were running away, and in the garage of the superfood market the police shot them down because they wanted to go with a baseball hammer or a wood thing to the police, and then they had to shoot them. So there's really sometimes a crazy area. I've seen other things there, so I'm not I don't like the place, you know it, the Nonsense Court. But I made that a night session alone, and I had the equipment by me with all those lights, the big cameras. I think I had 3 or 4 cameras by me, the big video lights, setups, and on and on and on, tripods, the big cameras, and I think they were worth around 4,000 to 5,000 euro. You know, equipment from 4,000 to 5,000 euro in your backpack, in your big tashes, and then you are alone in there after midnight on weekend. So there you have really not a good feeling, you know. That is the other thing, when you have such expensive equipment, you know, when you have the wrong people. Thankfully in my area that will not happen on day, but sometimes the wrong people came, they see, wow, this guy has money. I told this in the tunnels one. There is no one around, we check him and we take the camera. We do this, you know what I mean? So always is not a good feeling when you have an expensive equipment by you. And so the GoPro fits in here again, because there people will not think, wow, this is the holy grail, the most expensive camera and that stuff. You know, a GoPro has a lot of advantages, but also disadvantages, you know, the overheating problem, the echo, but the advantage is always straight. We don't have the blurry background. Most people wish for that, but I'm happy that I don't have it. We don't have to worry, yeah, if it's straight, and we have the wide angle on, you know. We also can correct this afterwards with a software, you know. There are a lot of things, but yeah, with filming can tell a lot, you know. But you always have to make the compromise which is possible on that day or not. Also the daylight, you know, with a GoPro the best thing would be to go out when there is really a nice weather, early in the morning or when the sun goes down, but not when it's cloudy, because then also the stabilization does not work that good anymore, you know. There it would be better to have, or when we have dark light, low light, you know. The GoPro is really not good. There are other cameras which are better, for example the new Ace Pro, but there you don't have 10-bit. I would love to have 10-bit. You have more space for color grading, but it's also a thing. Color grading, you know how much work you put into afterwards, and when you film every day, you don't have the time to make this, you know. When shall I do it? When the day only has 12 hours, you know. Sometimes I have worked over 12 hours for one video to get done, to film, to go to the court, to cut, to wait until it gets uploaded to YouTube, to control your video. Also important that you see if you have done all steps, or if something was in what was not good. and so you don't have the time, you know. But if you have the time with color grading, then it's very, very good. And when you have a camera, I had 422 10-bit. That is a perfect thing for standard people when you are in Hollywood or such things. You have other options. But you know, this, yeah, it's also a thing. But it's also difficult to learn it, you know. I think when you live in LA and you have the Hollywood studios beside of you, then you have you get much more easier to people who have knowledge about it. Here you have really you have no options almost to find people who know about filming, you know. Other thing is, for example, green screen. That is, yeah, nowadays you don't need the green screen anymore, or almost not that often. But a few years ago people went always into the green screen, and there they made a big mistake because they didn't have the knowledge, and that you see immediately if someone was into filming or not. They put the green screen exactly behind of them, behind where you sit, and then they put on the camera, then they made with chroma key and the green screen. And what happened then, because they didn't have the knowledge about that, never put a green screen exactly behind of you. Do this never, because that will never look good, because that reflects the green light. Yeah, you can also take a blue one, whatever you want, but the green one, sometimes the blue one is the best, you know, because the human people, the color green is less in your body from all the colors, so it's the best way. But don't wear green clothes. But the problem is with the hair, and when you have the green screen too close to you, then it reflects and you will see it in the hair, and that looks so strange, it looks so amateurish when you have experienced that. But nowadays, you know, a lot of things look amateurish, you know, because everyone makes the easy step. But there you have seen immediately, you know. I also made with green screen, but I had a problem because you have seen my arm was going out by the video 24 quarts in down, and I have a small green screen. I would need a much bigger green screen, but there it comes in. Do you have the equipment? I didn't have the equipment, and so I put it enough away. I would, half a meter would be better to go more backwards, but I didn't have the space to move, you know, and also my head to sit straight was not possible. I had to go a little bit down and try this to make this 1 hour. You get so back pain when you cannot sit normal, but I had to do this because the space was not there with the green screen. And so one time I was moving my hand because I had so pain, it was so, and I could not move out my hand because I was outside of the green screen, and then your arm goes away, you know, and that looks also strange. But I had no other possibility. I had the knowledge, but I didn't have the equipment for that stuff, you know. And when you work with semi-professionals, they will always tell you, always try to avoid a green screen because you will lose. Most of the time you will lose. It is so much work to make the setup. Also with the shutter speed, you know, there I would go away with the motion blur, what we made with the 180-degree shutter rule. I would not take 150 when you film with 25 FPS, not 150 shutter speed. I would go on with 100 shutter speed. Why? Because it is better to look better on the green screen. And before there, when you make an interview, you don't have much movement in, you know. These are also steps what you have to think about it. And yeah. And also with the hair, I would always, to avoid the hair, put on a cap, a towel, a pirate, you know, a pirate towel to avoid the hair problems. These are all things. Or it was a time when people also nowadays, they try to look professional as they will work with 2 cameras, you know. The angle when I talk now to you, and they had another camera from a side angle, yeah, and then they could switch from that angle to that angle, that you have more action in. That is a good step, because now I move sometimes from left to right, you know, that we have another thing in, but to avoid the boring things, you can switch a lot of times, you know, that angle, you get a little bit freshman in your video. But the thing is, what they did then later on, there we come now again to it. They didn't use a second camera. Why? It costs something, and you have to set it up. You know, you have to set it up. The light, if it's, you know, when you film from that angle, you may have other light than from before. You have to check this, the height, and this and that. And what are they doing now? They have one camera, wide angle on maybe, and then they crop in. You can afterwards crop in and go only on the right side, and it seems a little bit so that you film from another perspective. And when you are not into filming, you think, wow, that looks good. But that is also a thing. We live now in 2024, and people crop in. Maybe they film in HD and then they crop so far in that looks completely blurry, the flickering, you know what I mean? That looks really, really strange. That I also don't understand. When you want to film, you don't have to crop in, only when you have absolutely no other chance and you have your material, you see it afterwards in the post-production, I should have gone a little bit closer, this, that, for a trick, for this, then you can crop in. But don't do it all the time. But this is the style on YouTube, and this is why I don't make such YouTube videos, because nowadays you have to make it very short, action, 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 action. When you watch a short, every 2 seconds, cut. Very important to have the letters in, the sentences, what you speak, because most of the people watch it in the tram, in the train station, in the bus, and then they don't have the noise, and so they watch it without noise, and so they can read it. Then we have videos with all sentences in. You know, they change a lot, and always action. You never, for example, watch an old Western film, you know. In Germany you will know it, Spiel mir das Lied vom Tod. Such films, Clint, Lee Van Cleef, and all the great actors from back then. Watch the films and you will see how long a scene is. 15, 20, 25 seconds. And watch nowadays a Hollywood action film. Every few seconds, bam, 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 cut, action, on and on and on. You know, because people get used to this. When you are a TikToker, Instagrammer, you have an attention for 1 minute, you know, in short terms. Also, the science have experienced that people nowadays don't have a long, how it's called in English, they cannot concentrate for a long time because they used one video, swipe, next, this, that. You know what I mean? And so when you make a long scene, you lose on YouTube immediately. You will never have much followers, you know. But to me, I'm not interested if I have 1 million followers, only 100. I don't change the videos, you know. I make the same, what I think is good, what is nice. And to me, it really doesn't matter how many subscribers we have, you know. The only thing would be the affiliate links. Then I can buy much more equipment to make it again better, you know. Low light, for example. So, yeah. But it's really a lot of things. And the other things, what I can tell you, again, back when I am the terrorist and I have nothing to do with sport, in other words, I told you last time, watch the last video where I also talked long all what I experienced with world-class level athletes, but there I can go on what I have seen. You've never heard this from me, but I was completely into boxing, into fighting, not for my own, I'm not good. I worked out, I loved it, but I know a lot in theory. There you can call me, I'm a theory expert in boxing, because there I have experienced a lot. I was always by the big fights back then. The young ones will not know that, but Germany was maybe the capital city of boxing back then. Why? Because the big fights almost all went down in Germany. All was based there in Germany, in Switzerland, also German-based Austria. Here was the middle point of boxing, you know. The people don't know this anymore. We had all calibers were here. The heavyweight champion of boxing, where you say the most prestige title in sport, it was back then. You know, when we go back, Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano, Max Schmeling, you know, the only heavyweight champion of Germany. Greetings to Manuel Char. No, great guy, Manuel Char. I have seen him, very cool guy, you know, gets really not the support what he deserves, I think, you know, especially from Germany. He really has the will and all the things, the goodness, and he don't get the recognition here. I would wish that he gets the fight in the Lanxess Arena, biggest arena in Germany, indoor. I think the 7th biggest in Europe. I was often in there. That he gets a fight there, you know, a really big fight, and all come to support him. That would be cool. Manuel Char was here in Innsbruck in a boxing gym, I think by Mohammed. He's called box trainer. I knew guys who trained with this guy. So he was here, private, what I know. And really there were so many things boxing. I can tell you whom I have seen. I have seen Vladimir Klitschko a lot of times. I was never a fan of the Klitschkos. I've seen Vitaly fighting, and after that I tell you, Vladimir was a really master, you know. The time when it changed in my head, for example, was I was live in there when he fought David Haye, you know, the cruiserweight champion of the world. There I believe to 100% that David Haye will knock Vladimir out, because David Haye was an absolutely outstanding fighter, you know. In cruiserweight he was the undisputed cruiserweight champion. Some people call him the greatest cruiserweight of all time. That you can judge for your own. He went to Holyfield, Usyk, and on. We don't know. But then in heavyweight, you know, he proved himself. He wobbled the giant in Valuyev, the biggest one of them all. You know, when you know a little bit about fighting and you have such a big guy, you know, he was not the technical best, but such a big guy, 2 meter 20, 2 meter 15, whatever, 2 meter 12, they have all stuff in there, but a giant, I've seen him. And when you come from a cruiserweight division and you can wobble such a giant, he wobbled him, I think, in the last round. Only Shagayev wobbled Valuyev, what I know now, when I remember exactly back. And to achieve that as a cruiserweight, that is unbelievable. And he was so fast, you know, and that was to me the key when you have a fighter, Vladimir Klitschko and David Haye. You know, they are both technical, very, very excellent. But normally, when they are both good, you know, this guy is same good as the other guy. This is but a heavyweight boxer and this is a cruiserweight boxer. Then always the heavyweight boxer will win in 99% of the cases when they are both technical, the same good. But I thought David Haye is quicker than Vladimir. And that makes the difference. He's so quick as a cruiserweight and has granite power in his hands. He will knock out Vladimir. When he comes through, of course, it's not that easy. How many opponents were there who said, yeah, Klitschko has a glass chin, you go in, punch one time, he will fall away. No, that is not that easy. But I thought he will really be quicker, and then I have seen the fight, and then it changed everything to me. David Haye had no chance. Really had no chance. Vladimir put on a fight that was amazing. I tell you, it was in Hamburg, it was in the HSV stadium, you know. There was, I think, 12 degrees it had. It was really cold. They were coming in, it was in a free area. They only had a roof around the ring, but the walk-in was by rain. You know, and they had to put on jackets. You have seen David Haye coming in completely packed in, and Vladimir waited, you know, to come out. He made a little bit mind games, and yeah, he had no chance. Really had no chance. And there you have seen how fast Vladimir is. I have experienced that first time when he fought against Lehman Brewster. You know, but that was the biggest fight of the year in Germany back then. All people came in. Another crazy story, I was running into Felix Sturm. You know, he was in front of me, and I watched there to the red carpet and was walking, and sometimes I was shaking because someone was coming out, and I always run into him. He had a suit on, very nice, dressed, and I thought, oh, Felix Sturm. And I got panicked because what do you mean when you run into the world champion? Back then I think he was. And yeah, Adnan Katic, his real name is better said than the pseudo name Felix Sturm, you know, only to sell tickets for Germany. Adnan Katic from Bosnia. And yeah, it was really nice. And they were coming in, Thomas Gottschalk, all those famous, Lothar Matthäus was there, Otto Rehagel, and from the Kelly family, Jimmy Kelly, I think, Joey Kelly, they were all standing beside of me, you know. There were all people coming, so that was really, you know, because Klitschko has lost the first fight against Brewster, but there he not really lost. You have seen he had beat Brewster and then he completely got away. And why? Afterwards they went to the FBI, what I know, and there was the famous cutman in his corner, and they had a lie detector. That I cannot confirm, but I have heard that. And then the blood, his blood from Vladimir Klitschko was stolen. It was never found again, you know. And the thing is, Layman Brewster was the man of Don King, the big promoter, you know. And so they put in something into Vladimir's water, and then otherwise you cannot say, but many don't know this, you know. Afterwards, the famous ring doctor, she was really famous, and she said one thing, she never had seen such pupils after a fight what Vladimir had. And you have seen that was crazy, you know. And then this was the biggest fight of the year in Germany. The heavyweight champion Vladimir, the rematch against Brewster, and you have seen what happened there. Brewster had no chance, absolutely no chance in that fight. Completely sold out the Lanxess Arena back then. That was unbelievable, you know. And in Germany, I tell you, there were all big fights. The Klitschko were the heavyweight champions of the world, you know. HBO went out of heavyweight boxing back then. I think they said because of Klitschko was not that interesting for the people with the style, but that worked perfect, and he beat them all, you know. And one day, I've told you this last time, I was hanging out with Klitschko, his team. You know, after his fight, Klitschko was not there because he broke his hand, but there were a lot of guys. Jonathan Banks was there, you know, the guy from the cruiserweight fights. Or cruiserweight, or was it light heavyweight? I don't know now. But he was back then, after Emanuel Stewart, the trainer of Vladimir, and he was fighting also on that card. And there were a lot of others. And yeah, afterwards we were hanging out. I told you this. Emanuel Stewart was sitting beside there on the bar. You know, one of the greatest trainer, maybe the greatest trainer of all time in boxing. You know, he had Thomas the Hitman Hearns. He was there by Holyfield, what I remember. The chief trainer by Lennox Lewis, you know. He was there when Oliver McCall beat Lennox Lewis, you know. And then in the rematch, Lennox Lewis won. Emanuel Stewart, back then the trainer, you know. And so then the trainer of Vladimir, Emanuel Stewart, really, that was also a master trainer. Yeah, Michael Buffer was entering there, Usti Glass were there, you know, famous actor from Germany. And yeah, Michael Buffer, always nice. So then there was no one, you know, there we were all alone. It was really, really cool time. I had a girl by me, she was from St. Petersburg, and she made a film with Valuyev, you know, with the heavyweight champion, the giant. But she knew where Klitschko was, you know, and yeah. So I had the inside information. Really, really nice time, but long time ago. There comes another Pitbull, but this guy I know. Yeah, this also. So short break with the camera. Yeah, and that was really crazy. And there were all things happen in Germany. The young people will not know this now. We had the really big box companies. There were Universum and there were Sauerland. They were famous. They were worldwide famous. You know, Universum box promotions were in Hamburg. Klaus-Peter Kohl was there. And by Sauerland was Wilfried Sauerland. And then, yeah, they also don't know him now. His son, Kalle Sauerland, you know, there is a nice video in there with cocaine, the white powder, Kalle Sauerland. That was funny. And Universum Boxing Promotion was the biggest box promotion from Europe, you know, and they had so many champions. Sauerland had their champions, and also Universum had their champions. You know, in the early 90s, the era began with Masca, Rocky Graziano, also not there anymore. You know, the accident in Italy, what happened, really, really bad. Then Dariusz Michalczewski by Universum, they had their champions, Sven Ottke, Markus Bayer, and on and on and on. There were tons of champions produced, you know. Uli Wegner, one of the greatest boxing trainers in the whole wide world, also a Hall of Famer trainer, in my opinion, of 100%, 1000%, you know. He created the champions, Arthur Abraham, you know. I tell you, I've seen Arthur Abraham. This guy was amazing. A middleweight with a punch, he could knock the guys out. Really one of the best knockout powers what I have seen in my whole life from a boxer. One punch knockout power from hell. I have seen him the first time in Switzerland against Wayne Alcock, you know. Really a tough, rough, not the best boxer, but really a ripped, rough, trained body. He knocked the guy out with a punch, really. The guy had a punch in there, unbelievable. When you see, he connects and the guys, boom, they are out, you know. That is really, really crazy. And then I have seen the famous fight, the whole world was watching to that event, the first Super 6 tournament. Super 6 means they were the best people against the best people, because we know boxing, they always avoid it. There are a lot of organizations, the WBA. Now we have it ordered. Now it is in Saudi Arabia, and that they have the millions, they make the fights. But there was a lot where never happened something, you know. We had Michalczewski and we had Roy Jones in the US light heavyweight division. They never fought against each other. We had Sven Ottke in middleweight division, the champion. We had Bernard Hopkins, you know, it was super middleweight Sven Ottke. We had Bernard Hopkins, but they could have fought against each other. Never happened because of different promotions. What was back then, where Don King was involved, and this and that, you know, there's a lot of money and all that steps in. Now the noise problems comes again. But then they made the Super 6 tournament, and the whole wide world was watching for that event in the boxing scene when it started. And it started in Berlin, you know, in the famous O2 World in Kreuzberg, and I was in there. It was the second year when this building was standing, and it were all people in, you know. The Scorpions were live playing in there, and they were full packed. The house was full packed, and Arthur Abraham was living in Berlin, you know. And he was fighting against Jermaine Taylor, you know, the guy who beat the legendary Bernard Hopkins twice, where you can argue, where you can say one fight he has not won, the first one, the second, yeah, maybe. But Jermaine Taylor, of course, he had a beating there before he fought Abraham, but on my thing he was ahead, you know. Jermaine Taylor was ahead on the point cards, and Abraham never lost a fight. And then I will never ever forget this. In the last round, in the 12th round, I think 14 seconds before the fight ended, Abraham took out his right hand. He went in and crazy. That was a punch from hell. Boom. You know, we know Jermaine Taylor later on, he made mistakes, you know. But that was crazy. He was falling down. He was there for, I don't know, was it minutes, seconds, minutes? He was completely passed out. I cannot confirm it, but I think he had blood in the brain from that, you know. I don't know if this is right or not, but I have read that one day. But that punch, you know, the whole crowd in there were, there was a punch from hell, you know. Abraham, the fight against Corin Gavo, how he knocked this guy out, the head was crazy, really, really crazy power what Abraham had, you know. He had power like a cruiserweight, you know. Problem was that he went to super middleweight, because there the guys were bigger, were stronger, they could take a bunch more, and then they outboxed him, you know. Like, yeah, Carl Froch and all those things what happened then. But in middleweight he was really a giant. And so I've seen a lot. I've seen Valuyev boxing, you know. I have also seen Evander Holyfield boxing, you know, not only in person. I have seen the guy boxing, Evander Holyfield. Wow, crazy, you know, when you can say you have seen Holyfield boxing. Unbelievable. I have seen Lennox Lewis. He was staying also a little bit in front of me, you know, was a little bit more, not that close, when he was really in shape with his strats. I have seen George Foreman in person, you know, the big George Foreman, you know. I have seen Henry Maske. He was staying beside of me, you know. Henry Maske, one of the greats in Germany. And then I have seen Luan Krasniqi, you know. Luan Krasniqi, that was also, I have to correct, it was not Manuel Charr. I've not seen Manuel Charr. No, I've now other story. There was Luan Krasniqi in, and he was in there as a in the audience. He was private in there. He had nothing to do with the event. He was private in there with his friend Firat Arslan. You know, absolutely a great guy with that age. What this guy made, great. And they were sitting together in there. And boxing was in the ring Danny Williams, the guy who beat down Mike Tyson, who knocked him out. I bet back then on Danny Williams, and he really knocked out Mike Tyson. But you know, Mike Tyson in his prime, that would be a complete other story against Danny Williams. You know, respect to Danny Williams, but Tyson in his prime, no chance. So, and Danny Williams has won, and Krasniqi wanted to fight Danny Williams, and then he would stand up, you know, in the audience, and he was making this and such things to Danny Williams and Arslan. That was also cool, you know. And also was in there, that is also sad, and I can tell you now, we come back to YouTube. And I was in a legend in the sport of boxing from Germany, René Weller. He sadly passed away, very ill he was. And now tell me, which YouTuber out there from the big ones in the German-based YouTube area has mentioned the name René Weller? No one, what I know, no one. And I tell you why. First of all, maybe they are too young. They don't know the history back then, what was there, because they don't need to know this for what. They don't get more money for that, you know. And the other thing is, if they would mention his name, no one will watch the video, because the young audience what they have don't know the name René Weller, so they don't make a video about it. But normally when you have the passion for it, you should have made a video about René Weller, because he is a legend in the German sport, you know. And I've seen him, he was entering in, really a cool guy, yeah, really an old school guy he was. So yeah, and I've seen a lot, you know. I've seen Carl Froch. I have seen, yeah, there were many people. Mats Larsen back then, you know. And in Germany then, tell me, there were Joe Calzaghe was fighting in Germany against Mario Fight, when I remember back. You know, Joe Calzaghe, they call him the greatest super middleweight of all time. He was fighting in Germany, he was coming here, you know. Evander Holyfield boxed, what I know, under the license of Austria, because he didn't get it anymore in the US, I think, so he had the Austrian license, but I cannot confirm it now. I remember it back. But the other thing is, here in my federal state, not the whole country, here I'm in Austria, not Germany, Austria. In my federal state, I think 1 hour ago from my city, you know which guys were there training, you know, in a tennis court area. You know, now listen, now the people will know it. Deontay Wilder was training here 1 hour ago. The heavyweight champion, the former heavyweight champion of the world, Deontay Wilder was here. Anthony Joshua, the former heavyweight champion of the world, was training 1 hour ago here. You know, and of course, Tyson Fury was training here, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. And with whom have they trained? They were all sparring partners of Vladimir. You know, in the famous Stangelwood, they have built this building. This is in the near of Kitzbühel, you know, the famous Streif ski racing event, and they built the tennis arena, the court to a ring. Emanuel Stewart was there, and there they were the sparring partner of Vladimir Klitschko. Wilder, Joshua and Fury, you know, they were all here. Shagayev, the champion, when I remember back, was also training here, yeah, here. Corey Sanders, the guy who knocked out Vladimir Klitschko, I think the fight was in Hanover back then. There he knocked him out. Why? Because Vladimir was not prepared. He thought an old man. But also Corey Sanders is an extremely dangerous opponent. I tell you something, never underestimate someone who is from South Africa. You know, I had this from my dad. He was living there, and he told some of the toughest guys in the world come from South Africa. So never mess with one who comes from South Africa. And Corey Sanders was there, a police officer, what I remember back, and he really had the quickness, you know, a quick guy. I think he was a right-hander when I'm right, or? Yeah, was a right-hander. Yeah. And such guys are always dangerous to box, and he knocked Vladimir out cold, you know. And then you have seen the rematch also against Vitali. Also Vitali had his problems. That was a crazy fight, you know. Corey Sanders against Vitali, really, that was maybe the one who punished Vitali at most, more than Lennox Lewis. So Corey Sanders was extremely dangerous, but there he was a little bit overweight against Vitali. But there he took really a beating from Vitali. Vitali was always on point. Vitali only lost once as a kickboxer. He got knocked out, you know, but as a heavyweight he never lost. Yeah, Chris Bird, shoulder, what I know, he was ahead on points. Against Lennox Lewis, it was a draw until the fight was stopped. Was it the hand with the inner glove what made the cut open from Vitali? Was it a real punch? What would have been if he not had he had opened his eyes? Lennox had a broken nose, what I know. You never know, you know. So, yeah, and that was all in Germany, you know, all happened there. And then they had the champions. Zsolt Erdei from Hungary was there, Artur Grigorian, you know. They had fights there. Oktay Urkal was there, you know, also from Berlin. Vivian Harris was fighting there. I mean, all those fights had happened there. Michael Buffer was there always. Have you seen him? He almost had tears in his eyes when Maske has lost, you know. Henry Maske against Virgil, against Virgil Hill, you know. And then after, I think, 10 years to come back in a professional sport, when you are 10 years away and fight the same guy who was still there, that was to me one of the best things what in sport happened. That a guy who is 10 years out of the game to come back in a world-class level and win the fight against Virgil Hill. Henry Maske was really an absolute professional, you know. What I have heard is that he rebuilt an arena with audience, that he get used to it, but I don't know if this is true, you know. There are a lot of stories, but Maske was really, really great. And so on with Dariusz Michalczewski. Would he have won against Roy Jones? We will never know. I would say 95% would say, what? Against the prime Roy Jones? But we never know. You know, Michalczewski was also very good. He could take a punch and he was always going forward, you know. And he used his way up to beat someone. But back then, they always had opponents which the promoters made in that their fighter will win. You know, that is also a true part, you know. Sven Ottke, Byron Mitchell, you know, wow. And all those things, yeah. There were a lot of things happening. In Germany, there were always happening there, you have seen it. Vladimir Klitschko was boxing here. The big events, when started it? With Vladimir Klitschko, when he sold out the Schalke arena, you know. There it happens with the big fights. And then they made it in England also, Carl Froch back then. And then with with the other guys, with Joshua in Wembley Stadium against Vladimir and so on. But Vladimir started it with the 50,000 again. We had this back in the days also, you know. The biggest fight of the century, what was it? No, it was, yeah, of course it was Muhammad Ali against George Foreman. But the fight of the century was Max Schmeling against Joe Louis. That was when the whole wide world, Germany against the US, the war, you know, there was when the whole wide world was watching, you know. Max Schmeling, what a great guy, the German heavyweight champion. When he said Joe Louis made mistakes, when he jabs, he don't push his arm back, he a little bit too low, and he uses that, and he KO'd him, you know, in the back fight, then he loses, you know, all those things. And Germany also, all was there, you know, I've seen it. Fury Wilder was coming here, and on and on and on. Corey Sanders was boxing here in that federal state where I am now, you know. Christina Hammer was training here, you know, champion of the world, former. And then one of the greatest, you know, and the young people will know now, one, yeah, of course, Felix Sturm, you know, Adnan Katic, one of the best boxers. Unbelievably fight when he fought against Oscar De La Hoya. You know, he has beaten Oscar De La Hoya. We have not to talk about this. He has beaten the guy, but all odds were against him because there was the fight Bernard Hopkins, my favorite boxer, maybe of all time, with Lennox Lewis. Bernard Hopkins was winning his fight against Robert Allen, and Oscar De La Hoya, that was only a formula fight against the unknown guy from Germany. No one knows this guy. I have to beat them easily. I come in overweight, and then we have the big fight, Hopkins against De La Hoya. But you know what happened. Adnan Katic has beaten Oscar De La Hoya. Everyone knows that, everyone, and that was a masterpiece. He really beat the great Oscar De La Hoya. Of course he was overweight, but he has beaten him fair and square. Absolutely fantastic, and that is German history, what he made there. And he never got the recognition from the audience in Germany. I've seen Felix Sturm private, you know, and I've seen him fighting. That was also great, you know, and he never got the recognition from the fans. I know one thing was great when Axel Schulz, you know, also he was robbed, you know, against Franz Botha and George Foreman and all that stuff. And he would also be a heavyweight champion, you know. Axel Schulz against Botha, he was robbed. And so, and Axel Schulz was saying, he don't believe that Sturm will become champion again. And then Sturm entered in the live television and said that he never reached something and all that stuff. He never got the recognition. Then he was arrested because of finances, you know, at the FIBO, the famous FIBO, the biggest fitness, or the second biggest fitness event, I don't know how to call it in the world. And there they arrested him, you know, in there. I mean, a champion to arrest in such a thing is really a shame. Really, really a big shame. But that happened. But Sturm, always a respectful and great athlete, you know, always ripped, always made the best, and he fought really the good ones, you know. So he deserves much, much more respect in the game, Adnan Katic, you know. And also now he has a lot of knowledge when he talks about fighting. There you can listen, really, really great. But there on was one guy in German based, and that not many people will know, but the young people will know when I'm saying now the name. One of the greatest of all time was living in Germany and was fighting there for Universum. And it is 3 letters. Triple G. Triple G, Gennady Golovkin, was fighting for Universum Boxing, and he was living in Stuttgart. You know, in Stuttgart he was living back then. And he fought there, but he never got the chance to go up. Sturm was the fighter they promoted, but not Gennady Golovkin. And then what happened? Gennady Golovkin went later on to the US and became the biggest boxing attractivity in the whole wide world, you know. And he was living in Stuttgart and fighting there. So there were a lot of things happening German based. There were the biggest fights, they had sold out arenas. Almost every weekend there were big events, in Magdeburg, Sveinotke, Markus Bayer, and not to forget Regina Halmich. Regina Halmich, she was the female boxer who made boxing maybe famous. She's a Hall of Famer. She's only the second person from Germany who is in the Hall of Fame in boxing. And that as a female boxer, you know what that means. And she was the girl, they promoted her, by Universum, Klaus-Peter Kohl. And with her, the fights went famous, Now we have Clarissa Shields, one of the greatest of all time in boxing. And now we have those big fights, what happened in Dublin and on with Katie Taylor, the big fights, Amanda Serrano. There are a lot of good female boxers, So, yeah, and you can also say there it started it, So boxing was also, a big thing. I've known private the champion of North Italy, talked with them. I experienced other things. I told you, I've worked out with world champions in kickboxing, world champions. And there you get the level, what you see, what is possible or not. And there we come back to the basketball. I see immediately if someone is good or not. And when someone is into basketball, he sees immediately that I've never learned it. You see that immediately, And I've worked out with European champions in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I have seen the level. I've seen world class, some of the best street fighting experts in the world. They have given me a punch. I remember that I was falling 3 meters away. I thought my head is falling out of my neck. I have experienced that. A European champion in other thing. He was a big how it's called, a door, when you're in front of the door, how it's called in English, in a bar, in front of the door, the guy who let you in or not, bouncer, a bouncer. And one famous bouncer, he was a European champion, he once got to me and made this, there you get the experience. And he told me always, when you do this, most people go away, because when you have never experienced that, you get scared, Or example, I had people who made this to me and pushed me to the wall until I almost passed out, because there you get experience to that. I have 1-2 seconds, maybe not more or less, to do something. And when you do this, you want to put the hand down, you are passing out. You have to experience that. And then you see what those guys do, When I hear people, a jiu-jitsu guy or a judo guy or a ringer, what will he do? I'm a little bit into fighting. When he comes here, I punch him, he can do nothing. You know what? When you have a world-class level Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy or ringer, what do you think what this guy will do to you? Doesn't matter which weight class. If he's 10 kilo less or more, that doesn't matter there. When you think you can punch him into the neck when he's coming, I will guarantee you will lay on the floor and you will think, what is happening now? That is the truth what will happen. I have experienced it. I was one time, a guy took me and was crushing me into a wooden floor. How this hurted into the back. I have experienced it. So you see, when you're going up with the big guys, with the world-class guys, with world champions, European champions in different sports, then you see how they work out, how much they put in, and then you see the level what they are. And of course, in that levels, there also exist the best ones, which have more talent or whatever. That also is there. You have the normal champions and then the extraordinary champions. And so, So can really experience a lot. And fighting, boxing was always the thing. And now that changed a lot. But back then, that was really, there were so many people in Germany. And then the fights in Switzerland with Klitschko also. There was so much. And they, the other thing is HBO and Showtime were the biggest television channels which made boxing. These were the most famous channels in the world. And what did HBO? They made live, live television from Germany. Their teams, Jim Lampley, Lennox Lewis, Larry Merchant, the famous guys in the boxing scene, they were flying to Germany. They had to make the fights. We had an order time here. When we have it 10 o'clock, they have it an order time. They have it around midday. The heavyweight champion fight of the world was televised on midday in the US because they had to go to the rules from ours to Germany, because we have it 8-9 o'clock in the evening, and so they have to take this. And they were flying in with Larry Merchant, Lennox Lewis and Jim Lampley. That was back then the time when they were here. Michael Buffer always here. That was the biggest thing. Really, the time was German based. We had the whole package in the world. That it was. So really, really crazy time what was there. I have for sure forgotten now some names, but that was alone. I mean, we have the famous Ritzer. I lived in Hamburg, in Germany, Hamburg. When you're there at the Reeperbahn, there's the famous Ritzer. And there the big guys, also Vitaly Vladimir was going there. You went upwards, and there all the red light, all was there. The famous name, Karate Tommy, Stefan Henschel, and all those guys were there. The big bouncers, the red light giants were there. I have seen some of them. I have known a female Thai boxer. She trained 5 hours a day. She was smaller than me, lighter than me, but when you think you do a little bit, she was so fast she could punch me immediately. I lived by her. She made pull-ups, crunches, all things. She was also in street fights. There I learned she had always a belt. Because one time she had to grab it out and punch someone in the face in a car because he was holding a gun to her. Then she jumped out of the car. So I have really known a lot of people. And she brought me in and showed me all the people there at Reeperbahn. We went from club to club, and she said, this is the owner, this is the big one, and this one, and there you learn it. And so I've seen a lot. I went in Switzerland, in Zurich. There were also a famous street, greetings to Zurich. Back then, the famous Langstraße. There were also things happening. There were a lot of also famous bouncers. I have known some of them. I've trained with them, and they have trained with the world-class athletes in the world, with Systema, the Russian self-defense system. And there I have also seen crazy things when people were passing out. All people were shocked, they were all standing there, didn't know what happened. There was one guy, I tell you that, I was entering from the left street, and there was the street with bars, and as always people call it the dangerous area. Of course it is dangerous, but when you are with respect there, normally not much happens. Of course there are shootings and all that stuff, but that happens. So now SD card was full. So that is all about fighting, and there I had so much experience. And also in other things, for example, I've seen also a lot of wrestlers live in action. There you also see the level, what is there, what it takes. So I've seen, for example, I've seen The Undertaker, legend. I've seen Bret the Hitman Hart in the early 90s when he was in his prime. I have seen Coco Beware with his papagay, I don't know in English. I have seen Doink the Clown back then, I've seen Triple H. He was also 1 meter beside of me when he was entering in, not private, when he was entering in and making his water out, I have seen GBL, also I've seen him. Michelle McCool I've seen. Mai Reese, the housewife from the wife from The Miz, I've seen Beth Phoenix, a legend in wrestling, in female wrestling, the wife of Edge, and of course I have seen live Cody Rhodes, our new champion, The Roman Reigns area is over. Cody Rhodes I have seen when he was really unknown, you know. Long time ago, that was 16 years ago. 16 years ago I have seen Cody Rhodes, you know, in the WWE. Yeah, I've seen Randy Orton, I've told you the story with the stare down. Yeah, I've seen the Big Show, you know, I've seen Carlito. I've seen really a lot of guys. Umaga, you know, there also this. There are a lot of things. So fighting always. So back in the days I always made bets on fights, you know. Also crazy. But that I don't do. My nerves cannot take this anymore. I was betting back then, I think €200 on Vladimir Klitschko that he will win against Anthony Joshua. I mean, when you know this fight in the Wembley Stadium, I mean, he had Anthony Joshua down. He was over. You know, normally when you go after him, he's knocked out. But he didn't went after him. He was a little bit too carefully, of course, because against the Joshua you don't want to take a punch from a boxer who is hurt. But that was the mistake maybe. Normally he could have taken him out. And then he loses, you know. I know another woman, I was telling her bet on Klitschko and she bet €300 back then. Yeah, because he was the outsider in that fight. Of course he was losing against Fury. And then, yeah. But that was really, really... Yeah, so then now you know that also. Now we can finish the video. Now I have seen a lot of, have heard a lot of things. All with started with those nice commentary. I mean, and we have cleared this now. Nothing against this person. I let this commentary in, of course. But to say I'm a terrorist in basketball when I do so much on all different courts where you see no one other doing this. Of course, no one is doing this because they would only do this when they get money, you know. There will be private people who will doing this who love the sport, of course. But to say to me, when I do this all in my free time, you know, it would be easier to me without the camera. Then I can enjoy it, have more time to play, and I do this all for free that people see it, and then I'm a basketball terrorist. So in that sense, now I will play a little bit extra with my legacy on the rough asphalt court here, and I will film this. And then I make an extra video because this is too long, you know. You see this as an extra. We see us again, as always. Until then, bye and ciao.